Prologue, The Call. There's a moment when everything changes. March 13, 2008. 9 p.m. A Greek restaurant in Manhattan. Jamie Dimon's phone rings. On the other end, desperation. Bear Stearns, 85 years old, survivor of the Great Depression, survivor of Black Monday, survivor of 9/11, is dying. They need $30 billion, tonight. Most men would panic. Most would say it's impossible. Dimon steps outside into the cold New York air, makes 3 phone calls. Within minutes, hundreds of JPMorgan employees abandon their Thursday evening plans and race back to their desks. They have 48 hours to analyze what would normally take 6 months. By Monday morning, Bear Stearns belongs to Jamie Dimon. But here's what nobody understands. Here's the question that should haunt you. How did one man see the apocalypse coming when the entire financial world was blind? The answer takes us back 50 years. Not to Jamie Dimon's birth, but to his grandfather's journey. Back to a boat arriving at Ellis Island carrying a Greek immigrant with nothing but ambition. Back to the moment that would shape a dynasty. Chapter 1. The Immigrant's Bloodline. Picture Queens, New York, 1921. A Greek immigrant named Panos Papadimitriou steps off a boat with $7 in his pocket. The name is too foreign, too difficult, too marked. He changes it at the immigration desk. Papadimitriou becomes Dimon. He finds work as a busboy, then a waiter. Then he studies finance at night, becomes a banker, then a stockbroker. He speaks 6 languages, walks miles every day to save car fare, reads 3 newspapers before breakfast, survives. By the time his grandson Jamie is born in 1956, Panos has built something from nothing. Not wealth, not yet, but something more valuable, a philosophy. Success isn't given, it's taken. One day at a time, one choice at a time, one sacrifice at a time. Jamie's father, Theodore, follows Panos into finance. But Theodore doesn't just follow, he excels. Becomes an executive vice president at American Express. Works under a man named Sandy Weill at the brokerage firm Shearson. The Dimon and Weill families become close. Dinner parties, holidays, Passover seders together. Young Jamie grows up watching his father and Sandy Weill discuss deals, dissect markets, debate strategy. The boy absorbs it all like a sponge. By the time Jamie is 10, he can explain compound interest. At 12, he's reading the Wall Street Journal. At 15, he's analyzing his father's investment decisions. The Dimon household revolves around one religion: finance. Theodore Dimon teaches his son something crucial. In this business, loyalty matters more than brilliance. Trust outlasts talent. Relationships compound like interest. Jamie will remember this lesson, will live by it, will be destroyed by it, and eventually will use it to build an empire. At the elite Browning School in Manhattan, Jamie excels. 4th in his class, strong test scores, a future that looks golden. He applies to Brown University. The rejection letter arrives in a thin envelope. But it's not just the rejection. It's what the assistant headmistress writes in her recommendation. His lack of manners, due to his habits of making quick judgments and contradicting others, is greatly improved. Read that again. Greatly improved. It's a compliment wrapped in poison, a knife disguised as praise, a career-ending assessment disguised as progress. Most 19-year-olds would accept this. Tufts University accepts him. Good school, solid reputation. But Jamie Dimon doesn't want good. He wants undeniable. At Tufts, something awakens, an obsession, not just to succeed, to dominate. While other students party, he studies. While they sleep, he analyzes. He double majors in psychology and economics, understanding both numbers and people. He writes a paper analyzing Shearson's merger strategies, the company where his father and Sandy Weill work. His mother reads it, sends it to Sandy Weill. Weill reads the paper, sees something, offers Dimon a summer internship. That internship changes everything. By 1978, Dimon graduates summa cum laude from Tufts, top of his class. Harvard Business School accepts him immediately. At Harvard, he meets his future wife, Judith Kent, studies under the best professors, graduates as a Baker Scholar, top 5% of his class. Job offers flood in: Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, Lehman Brothers, six-figure salaries, fast tracks to partnership. He turns them all down. Because Sandy Weill, his father's boss, his family's friend, the man who gave him that first internship, makes him an offer nobody understands. 1/3 the salary, no prestigious title, just a promise. You'll have fun. Most people think Dimon is insane, throwing away a golden opportunity. They don't understand what Dimon sees. Sandy Weill isn't just a mentor. He's a predator at the beginning of his hunt, and Dimon wants to learn how to hunt. What nobody realizes, not even Weill, is that one day the student will surpass the teacher. And when that day comes, it will destroy them both. Chapter 2: The Empire Builders. 1982 American Express. Sandy Weill is president. Jamie Dimon is his assistant. Most MBA graduates start at the bottom. Analyst positions, grunt work, years of proving themselves. Dimon walks straight into the inner circle. At 28, he's negotiating deals worth hundreds of millions. Weill teaches him everything: how to analyze a company in minutes, how to spot weakness others miss, how to move fast when others hesitate, how to build empires from wreckage. They become more than colleagues: father and son, teacher and student, partners in conquest. For 4 years, they're unstoppable. Then everything collapses. 1986. American Express owns an insurance company called Fireman's Fund. Weill and Dimon work tirelessly to sell it to Warren Buffett. The deal is so close they can taste it. At the final stage, the board vetoes the sale. Weill realizes he's been played, used, humiliated. He quits in a rage. He tells Dimon to stay. Young family, mortgage, responsibilities. Dimon thinks about it for exactly 1 day, then quits too, 29 years old, walking away from American Express for loyalty to a man who just got fired. Wall Street thinks his career is over. They're wrong, because what happens next will change finance forever. Weill and Dimon take over a loan shark operation in Baltimore called Commercial Credit. 4% return on equity. Terrible management. Most investors won't touch it. Dimon analyzes the numbers, sees hidden assets, undervalued real estate, costs that can be slashed ruthlessly. They raise $850 million in a public offering. On day 1, they fire 10% of the workforce. No mercy, no sentiment. 1 year later, $100 million in profits, 18% return on equity. They're back. But they're not just back, they're hunting. October 19, 1987, Black Monday. The stock market collapses. Dow Jones drops 22% in a single day, the largest one-day percentage decline in history. Companies are dying, banks are failing, fortunes evaporate. It's carnage. While everyone else sells in terror, Weill and Dimon buy. Because commercial credit has something nobody else has: cash. No debt crisis, no panic, no weakness. They devour struggling competitors, absorb failing businesses, build an empire piece by piece. Over the next decade, through Primerica, Travelers, Salomon Smith Barney, they create the largest financial conglomerate in America. Citigroup. Sandy Weill is CEO, King of Wall Street. Jamie Dimon is president, one step from the throne. Everyone knows it's only a matter of time. Weill is getting older. Dimon is the heir apparent. The New York Times runs articles. Analysts praise him. Investors love him. The problem? Sandy Weill isn't ready to retire, and empires don't like sharing thrones. Chapter 3: The Betrayal. Here's what you need to understand about power. It corrupts not through money, but through fear. By 1998, Sandy Weill is terrified, not of competitors, not of markets, of Jamie Dimon. Because Dimon isn't just competent anymore, he's brilliant. Analysts praise him, investors love him, articles call him the future CEO of Citigroup. Weill reads every article, hears every whisper, and realizes something terrifying. His protege has become a threat. So Weill does what emperors always do. He brings in insurance, his daughter, Jessica Biblowicz. He places her in Dimon's division, the mutual funds business. Childhood friends. Should be easy. It isn't. Dimon sees the mutual fund industry changing. High-fee funds are dying. Low-cost index funds like Vanguard are the future. He tells Jessica to restructure. Weill disagrees. Father protecting daughter. Dimon pushes through anyway, because in his mind, performance matters. Not relationships, not family, not even loyalty. A year later, promotion time comes. Jessica's division brought in $288 million. Merrill Lynch brought in $3.1 billion. Dimon doesn't promote her. To Weill, this isn't about business. It's about family. It's about respect. It's about power. And Dimon has crossed a line he doesn't even know exists. October 1998. The Greenbrier Resort in West Virginia. A 5-day executive retreat. 150 top executives and their spouses. Weill watches Dimon during presentations, sees him unprepared, making strange analogies about the Peloponnesian War, acting unpresidential. Weill makes a decision. Sunday afternoon, November 1998. Dimon is hosting job candidates at his New York City apartment. 50 people cycling through, interviewing for positions. The phone rings. Weill and John Reed want to meet. Now, drive to the office. Dimon arrives at Citigroup headquarters. They outline structural changes. The first two don't make sense. Dimon objects but accepts. Then they deliver the third. We want you to resign. 15 years of partnership, gone. One conversation. Dimon drives home in shock, tells his wife. His 3 daughters crowd around, their faces pale with worry. The youngest asks if they'll have to sleep on the streets. He tells them no. That night, about 50 senior managers from Citigroup fill his apartment. Flowers, condolences. It's like attending his own wake. One tall friend arrives. Dimon's youngest daughter looks up. Who are you? I work for your daddy. Not anymore, you don't. Dimon receives a $30 million severance package. He sells 2.3 million Citigroup shares for a pre-tax profit of $110 million. His net worth exceeds $100 million. No financial worries, but that's not what this is about. He was one step away from running the most powerful bank in the world. Now he's unemployed, betrayed by the man who taught him everything, the man his father worked for, the man who sat at their family's Passover table. Wall Street whispers. Some say he deserved it. Too aggressive, too cocky, too disloyal to Weill's family. But Dimon knows the truth. He was betrayed by the closest thing he had to a second father. The best revenge isn't getting angry, it's building something they can never take away. Chapter 4, The Wilderness. 1999. Dimon spends 18 months in limbo. He rents an office in the Seagram building, considers teaching, thinks about starting his own merchant bank, toys with retirement. He's 42, financially secure, could spend the rest of his life with his family. But Jamie Dimon doesn't sit still. The calls start coming. Executive search firms, CEO positions, opportunities. Jeff Bezos invites him to Seattle. Amazon is young, scrappy, worth $5.5 billion. Bezos offers him the president role. They meet, hit it off, become friends. But retail? Moving to Seattle? Living on a houseboat? It's too far from his habitat. Ken Langone, Bernie Marcus, and Arthur Blank call about Home Depot. Dimon loves them, but he confesses he's never actually stepped foot in a Home Depot. Hank Greenberg wants him to run AIG. Every offer is prestigious, lucrative, tempting. Then a headhunter calls about Bank One, Chicago, 5th largest bank in America. valued at $20 billion, one-tenth the size of Citigroup. The bank is a disaster. Recent mergers created infighting, brand confusion, mounting losses. Their credit card operation is rated worst in the industry. The CEO, John McCoy, nicknamed Fly-by McCoy, goes on lavish vacations while the company bleeds money. Analyst Mike Mayo famously says, "Even Hercules couldn't fix it." Most executives would run. Dimon sees opportunity. March 2000, he becomes CEO of Bank One, and he does something that shocks Wall Street. He invests $60 million of his own money, half his net worth, into Bank One stock. The day he takes the job, think about that, half of everything he owns, into a failing bank. If this fails, he loses everything. His father taught him about loyalty. Sandy Weill taught him about empire building. But this is pure conviction, skin in the game, no hedge, no safety net. I'm going down with the ship or up with the ship. His first 12 months are brutal. He sells underperforming businesses, fires 12,000 employees, good people, but the bank is dying. Cuts executive perks ruthlessly. Takes away company cars, country club memberships, retirement bonuses, financial planning services, season tickets to sporting events. The executives hate him. He stands in front of them and explains, "We're laying off people. You're in good shape." They aren't. We're all to blame. I want you to stand up and be proud that you're cutting your own benefits first. He takes $4.4 billion in write-downs. The company posts a $511 million loss. Any other CEO would be fired immediately. But the stock goes up, because Wall Street finally sees someone telling the truth, someone willing to do what nobody else will, someone who has put his entire fortune on the line. A year later, $2.6 billion in profits. Jamie Dimon has done the impossible, again. But there's something different this time, something nobody notices. While other banks chase profits in subprime mortgages, lending to people who can't afford homes, securitizing toxic assets, dancing to music that's already stopped, Dimon is building something else. A fortress, massive cash reserves, conservative lending standards, extreme stress tests, 5 times a day, every day, from 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. His colleagues think he's paranoid. He doesn't care, because Dimon learned something from his grandfather Panos, who survived by walking miles to save money. From his father Theodore, who survived brutal recessions. From Sandy Weill, who survived Black Monday. The crisis is always coming. You just don't know when. Chapter 5, The Ascension. 2004. JPMorgan Chase merges with Bank One. William Harrison, CEO of JPMorgan, is approaching retirement. He sees in Dimon something special. Not just talent, vision, the ability to survive when others fail. Unlike Sandy Weill, Harrison isn't threatened by Dimon's ambition. He sees it as the bank's future. The merger completes. After 1 year of consolidation, Dimon becomes CEO of JPMorgan Chase, second largest bank in America, second to Citigroup, but not for long. Dimon immediately starts building, cutting costs, reforming incentives, and most importantly, fortifying the fortress. While other banks gorge on subprime mortgages, Dimon reduces JPMorgan's exposure. While Chuck Prince, Sandy Weill's successor at Citigroup, famously says, "As long as the music is playing, you've got to get up and dance," Dimon sits out. He watches and waits. Because he knows something nobody else seems to understand. The music has already stopped. People just haven't noticed yet. 2007, the housing market cracks. Subprime mortgages start defaulting. Banks that gorged on toxic assets begin to panic. Bear Stearns is one of the most exposed. March 10-13 sequence, Fed lending facility, Moody's downgrade, Bear's liquidity collapse. March 13th, Thursday, 9 p.m. Jamie Dimon's phone rings. Bear Stearns needs $30 billion tonight. Otherwise, they'll go bankrupt when Asian markets open in 6 hours. If Bear Stearns falls, It triggers a domino effect. Lehman Brothers, Merrill Lynch, Citigroup. The entire financial system could implode. Treasury Secretary Hank Paulson is desperate. The Federal Reserve is panicking. There's only one bank with the fortress balance sheet strong enough to absorb Bear Stearns. JPMorgan Chase. Dimon hangs up. Calls his team. Get dressed, come to the office. Now. 200 JPMorgan employees work through the night, analyzing Bear Stearns line by line, client by client, asset by asset. 6 months of work compressed into 48 hours. Sunday evening, March 16th. Bear's board of directors sits in their conference room, waiting. The offer comes in, $2 per share. A company that traded at $170 just 14 months ago, now worth less than a Starbucks coffee. Bear's shareholders are furious. The price is insulting, but the alternative is bankruptcy. Complete collapse. Zero. Monday morning, the deal is announced. Bear Stearns belongs to Jamie Dimon. The fortress holds. 6 months later, Lehman Brothers collapses. Merrill Lynch is sold to Bank of America in a desperate weekend deal. AIG needs a massive government bailout, and Citigroup, Sandy Weill's empire, nearly dies. They need $476 billion in government guarantees to survive. Chuck Prince is fired. The board brings in Vikram Pandit. But it's too late. The damage is done. Years later, a reporter asks Sandy Weill, "If you could go back, would you wish Jamie Dimon had stayed instead of Chuck Prince?" Weill's answer is immediate. There's no question. Meanwhile, JPMorgan Chase thrives. Dimon's money market business takes in $200 billion during the crisis. Commercial banking income increases 27%. By 2009, JPMorgan Chase is the largest bank in America. Jamie Dimon sits on the throne, the last man standing. But there's a price for salvation. Chapter 6. The Hidden Cost. The fortress held. JPMorgan absorbed Bear Stearns and Washington Mutual, two banks drowning in toxic mortgages, fraudulent loans, securities that should never have been sold. Dimon knew the risks, took them anyway, because someone had to. But absorbing two distressed banks in a fire sale comes with something nobody talks about: inherited sins. November 2013. 5 years after saving the financial system. 5 years of being praised as the hero of Wall Street. The bill arrives. JPMorgan Chase agrees to a settlement with the U.S. Justice Department. The amount, $13 billion, the largest civil settlement with a single entity in American history. Think about that number. More than the GDP of Bolivia. More than 3 times the annual budget of the SEC. Gone. Paid to settle claims about toxic residential mortgage-backed securities. Not just JPMorgan securities, Bear Stearns securities, Washington Mutual securities, the very banks Dimon rescued. The breakdown: $9 billion in cash penalties to federal and state entities, $4 billion in relief for struggling homeowners whose lives were destroyed by predatory loans. The cause? Mortgages packaged and sold with representations they met underwriting guidelines. When employees knew, they didn't. Dimon sits in meetings with Attorney General Eric Holder. U.S. Attorney Benjamin Wagner presents evidence from Sacramento. Internal emails. Due diligence reports ignored. Red flags everywhere. One loan application lists O.J. Simpson's income. Another shows a borrower working at Blimpie's Sandwich, earning $100,000 annually. Fraudulent, obviously fraudulent. And they sold them anyway. Packaged them as ALA securities. Sold them to pension funds, retirement accounts, investors who trusted the ratings. Dimon acknowledges that 70–80% of the settlement relates to Bear Stearns and Washington Mutual. Not JPMorgan's own conduct, the inherited liabilities of the firms he rescued. He's furious. The government begged him to buy these banks. Begged him. Hank Paulson on the phone at midnight. Timothy Geithner desperate. Ben Bernanke warning of systemic collapse. And now? Now they're fining him $13 billion for saving the system. The irony is suffocating. But here's the truth nobody wants to admit. JPMorgan's own mortgage practices weren't clean either. The Justice Department found evidence. Internal documents showing JPMorgan before 2009 sold securities they knew had problems. The fortress wasn't just absorbing other banks' sins, it had committed its own. The settlement includes an admission. JPMorgan acknowledges it made serious misrepresentations to investors about the quality of mortgage loans. No criminal charges, no executives go to jail, just money. $13 billion in fines that shareholders pay, not executives, not the traders who packaged fraudulent loans. Shareholders. The fortress saved the financial system. But the cost of that salvation? Higher than anyone imagined. Dimon's heroic rescue of Bear Stearns and Washington Mutual saddled his fortress with billions in inherited legal costs, proving that even the strongest balance sheet cannot shield a bank from the sins of the past. Not even his past. But Dimon doesn't make excuses, takes responsibility, pays the fine, moves forward. Because that's what fortresses do. They absorb damage, they pay the price, they endure, and they prepare for the next storm. Chapter 7. The Crack in the Fortress. But here's what most stories don't tell you. Here's where the legend meets reality. The fortress wasn't impenetrable. April 2012. 4 years after saving the financial system. 4 years of being praised as the savior of Wall Street. A trader in JPMorgan's London office named Bruno Ixil is making massive bets on credit derivatives. Positions so large that hedge fund managers start calling him the London Whale. Some call him Voldemort. The Chief Investment Office, the unit designed to hedge against risk and invest excess deposits conservatively, has drifted into speculative proprietary trading. By February 2012, hedge fund managers notice unusual activity in credit default swaps. The trades are so large they're moving entire markets. Ixil's trading book breaches JPMorgan's risk limits multiple times. The bank's risk managers issue warnings, but the warnings are ignored. A flawed risk model downplays the exposure, creates a false sense of security. Meanwhile, hedge funds begin betting against Ixil's trades. They smell blood. April 2012. Bloomberg exposes the story. The London Whale is dominating the derivatives market. CEO Jamie Dimon holds a conference call with reporters. He's dismissive, agitated, defensive. He calls the concern a tempest in a teapot. He's catastrophically wrong. By May, JPMorgan announces $2 billion in trading losses. By June, $4.4 billion. By December, $6.2 billion. Think about that number. More than 3 times the yearly budget of the Securities and Exchange Commission. Wiped out by one trader making risky bets. The fortress has been breached from within. The consequences are swift and brutal. JPMorgan pays $920 million in fines to US and UK regulators for poor risk controls. The bank admits violating securities laws. A US Senate subcommittee issues a scathing report accusing the bank of misleading investors and dodging regulators. 2 traders face criminal charges for wire fraud and conspiracy. And Jamie Dimon? His board cuts his 2012 compensation in half, from $23 million to $11.5 million. For the first time in his career, the man who built fortresses has failed to protect his own. The irony is suffocating. The man who saw 2008 coming, who prepared while everyone else danced, who built the strongest balance sheet on Wall Street, failed to see the enemy within his own walls. But here's what separates Dimon from other CEOs. He doesn't make excuses. He takes responsibility, calls it what it is: errors, sloppiness, bad judgment. And then he does something unexpected. He buys 500,000 more shares of JPMorgan stock with his own money, right after the scandal, to signal confidence to the market. Skin in the game. Again. Always. The London Whale incident becomes ammunition for regulators pushing the Volcker rule. banning risky proprietary trading by banks. Dimon fights it, argues the trades didn't violate the rule, but the timing is catastrophic. For years afterward, the London whale follows him, a reminder that even the strongest fortress has cracks. That preparation isn't perfection, that survival requires constant vigilance, because the storm isn't just outside, sometimes it's inside your own walls. Epilogue, the eternal question. Today, Jamie Dimon remains CEO of JPMorgan Chase, 20 years in the role. The only Wall Street CEO from 2008 still standing. The bank is now worth over $800 billion, twice its nearest competitor. Dimon's personal net worth exceeds $2.8 billion, but it was never about the money. It was about the wound. The rejection letter from Brown University that said he wasn't good enough. The betrayal by a mentor who was supposed to be family. Every failure that was supposed to destroy him. He turned each wound into armor, each rejection into fuel, each betrayal into preparation, and he built what nobody thought possible. A fortress so strong it could survive the end of the world. Even when cracked from within, the fortress held. But here's what should haunt you. The question nobody asks. If Jamie Dimon saw 2008 coming, if he spent years preparing while everyone else got drunk on profits, what does he see now? In 2024, Dimon warns about rising geopolitical tensions, inflation that won't die, massive government debt, the unknown risks of artificial intelligence, climate change reshaping industries. He's building the fortress again, quietly, methodically. While other banks chase profits, JPMorgan stockpiles cash, runs stress tests, prepares for scenarios most people think are impossible. History teaches harsh lessons. The 1970s recessions, the 1987 crash, the 2000 dot-com bubble, the 2008 financial crisis, the 2012 London whale. Every time the pattern is the same. Nobody expects it. Everyone thinks they're safe. The music keeps playing, until suddenly, it stops. And when it stops, only the prepared survive. Jamie Dimon spent 30 years building his fortress, stockpiling cash, running stress tests, preparing for the impossible, learning from every crack, every weakness, every failure. And when March 2008 arrived, when the phone rang at 9 p.m. on that Thursday night, he was ready. Somewhere on Wall Street, in an office high above the chaos, Jamie Dimon is still building, still preparing, still waiting for the next storm. Because he knows something most people refuse to accept. The fortress is never finished. There's always another crisis, another challenge, another moment when everything could collapse. The London whale proved that. Even the strongest fortress has vulnerabilities. Even the best preparation has blind spots. And the only way to survive is to keep building, keep learning, keep being the person who sees what's coming before anyone else does. Not because you're lucky, not because you're special, because you remember what it felt like to fail, to be rejected, to be betrayed, to have your own fortress breached from within. And you refuse, absolutely refuse, to let it happen again. That's the secret of the fortress. That's the legacy of Jamie Dimon. Not the billions, not the empire, not the power, the preparation. The understanding that success isn't about being the smartest or the richest. It's about being the last man standing when the storm finally comes. And the storm? It's always coming. From outside, from inside, from places you'll never expect. The only question is, will you be ready?